Hello everyone, welcome to FSO Spotlight. In today's episode, we have Matthew, Michael and Chris from Bluechip Australia. Welcome guys.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Cheers, man.
Okay. Can you give our audience a small introduction about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Matthew. I look after a business unit within Bluechip in Australia, the enterprise business unit, where ManageEngine is a key vendor in that group, and run the sales team there.
I'm Michael. I'm the senior product manager for ManageEngine within Bluechip. So I work closely with the sales team, work with the channel manager and the local ManageEngine team, as well as our partners and customers. Thanks.
Chris here, Bluechip Infotech, Australia, working there as a principal consultant, pretty much working closely with all our internal stakeholders, as well as the partner stakeholders and customers. I'm a solutions guy, helping the customers solving their challenges.
That's excellent. So we'll jump right into this spotlight. So we'll start about talking about business growth and spending. So we see that the entire spending in Australia's business growth is to be grown by 9% this year. And in that, most spending goes towards software. Okay. So what is your take on that? Or what are your true sense on that?
I would say like GRC is the biggest driver. I would say like the Australia Essential 8, the security compliance and framework. And if you go back and check it out, it's the shadow apps that's causing the trouble. And the weakest link is human, right? So the apps are getting misused and they need to put a lot more security around the applications. And a lot of organizations are investing on the applications to make it a lot more easier for their core business purposes, right? So they need an application to automate the process, bring in efficiency and effectiveness. That's why the applications, the growth on the software revenue is always higher to solve the challenges that for their day-to-day purposes. What do you say on that, Matt?
Well, just to jump in the sense where these software and cloud now are kind of becoming the same group. And even with vendors such as yourselves, software or cloud, whatever suits the customer, and there's more of a shift to cloud, but we've still got a hybrid environment of on-prem and cloud. But customers obviously focused more on their business and the applications, and it's software that enables that without really worrying as much as they might have done in the past about things like the hardware and the networking.
I think also with the applications and now the security focus, people are realizing they need visibility and want something that's what is happening to systems, data, applications. And core to that, I always said that you can't be secure unless you've got visibility at monitoring or something in place to understand what you need to secure. Because if you don't know it's there, how can you make it secure?
That's right.
Exactly. Visibility everywhere. Yeah. So let's slowly shift towards cloud. Okay. So we see a lot of organizations are adapting multi-cloud environments. And again, another article by Gartner says that most of these multi-cloud environments may fail in 2028 by the time we reach 2028. So what is your take on that? Do you think that's true or partially true?
It's a technical competency that's required to manage multiple cloud infrastructures, right? So an engineer who is an expert in Azure, again, you need to get the right certification and right technical competency in AWS or Google Cloud and other. We can find the skill set, but looking into a market like Australia and New Zealand, it's expensive. A professional for us to hire or an organization to have an engineer who is certified across multi-cloud is really expensive. On top of it, it's the complexity around handling all multiple cloud environments and making sure it's completely protected and serving the purpose for the organization. So consolidation plays a crucial role. Then comes the cost. I think I've talked about 3 points and I'll leave the rest to our team.
Well, I mean, in the market in Australia, AWS and Azure are very, very big, and I don't know, but I don't think there's any clear winner there. So customers, certainly the bigger ones, are going to have environments use, workloads running in both environments. So, maybe it would be a little risky at the moment to put all your bets on one platform, but maybe that will change in coming years, like you said, with the research. Yeah.
Right. The other thing is that when the first clouds launched, they didn't have everything that's available now. So potentially some organizations had to go to one cloud provider for A and another for B, that now both cloud providers can offer A and B. So they're trying to consolidate a customer to lock them in, but two, so that organization's easier to be in a single cloud. And the other thing that maybe Carl is alluding to when they say it's going to fail, I don't know if failure is the right term, but organizations are now actually looking at their cloud strategy and going, we got sold to move to cloud because it's easier and simpler and cheaper. But is it? And we're seeing customers sometimes bringing back and becoming more hybrid or bringing applications back all in-house because the cloud advantage doesn't work in that use case of heavy latency. There may be other challenges that we rushed to the cloud and now we're realizing that maybe was okay, but
there's a lot of hidden costs, I think. Right?
So that was the one to say,
yeah, it wasn't the best for this solution. Let's bring it back in-house or bring it, change what we're doing, make it more hybrid because, initially everyone was sold cloud's the dream. It's going to solve all your problems. And everybody went to cloud. And I think now they're reevaluating it, cost, complexity, staffing, even recruiting, finding people and retaining them. It's very hard for an organization to find the people and then keep them with them for that time. So we're seeing growth of like MSP, third parties, often like larger consultancies, supporting customers who are in the cloud because they've gone to cloud, but they can't manage what they've got. So it's not a simple one size fits all.
Yeah, we need based on the environment, right? Again, the critical factor is unused compute and unused storage in a cloud is an expensive mistake. And people are realizing it now. So it's a human error. We might spun up a server for testing lab purposes and boom, once that is done and that's there, chewing up the resources and company is paying monthly, whatever the cost that comes in, right? It's occurring and it's expensive. So spend on the cloud is getting more expensive if it's not properly optimized.
So we know organizations where they originally would deploy servers, run them 24/7, they're pressure test or dead environments, but now they sort of turn them up at 6 and bring them back up at 8. That's right. Because of that, cost for compute is a few cents, but when you scale up to hundreds of servers and then over some time, that's how they get the bill shock.
Yep.
I thought this was going to save me money, but actually it's
Cost more. Yeah. So with the right set of tools, with a nice plan and techniques, I think we can combat that, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the summary of this entire conversation. Since we are in the conversation about cloud, let's talk a little bit about data sovereignty. So how do you achieve that?
It's data sovereignty is interesting, right? So every region, every land wanted their data to stay in their own land. They don't want their data to go out of their own land, right? So I have an interesting story to share because I was at a customer side consulting and they wanted to, hey, like we are on premises right now and you have a SaaS option right now and we are happy to migrate to cloud. And I was telling him, hey, your data is going to get stored in Australia and that's where the primary data center sits. And then we have a secondary in Melbourne, so Sydney and Melbourne. So they're quite happy at that stage and we started the project. The project is done. So they are all moved to cloud. The situation comes when it's kind of a localized government trust.
In New Zealand?
In Australia, New Zealand. So yeah, I mean, in New Zealand, there's a trust. They are pretty much concerned about the land records and data. So all those, land records not supposed to be seated anywhere. So at rest, data at rest cannot happen outside the New Zealand regions. So that was a challenge. And I was working at that time with a local team from ManageEngine. We were figuring out what can be done because it's already done. The migration is already completed. But currently there is a challenge because the data can't, the people do attach a lot of documents, land records, files in the technique system as such. So those details cannot reside in the data center in Australia. So we figured it out. So as an engineers, and I believe ManageEngine being part of all the literally a technical team. So we were discussing about what possible can be done. We created a script, kind of a code that sits in the application, checks for any attachment, strips that attachment, and customer is already having a SharePoint hosted in the New Zealand, and that's where the data gets stored. All the records and the files and everything gets stored. So we just pick the link, and the link gets attached that has a username and password. So there is always a solution. So that's where the data sovereignty comes in, right? So it's all about the data and the way they wanted to protect the data within their own regions. So that's a good example. And likewise, there's one other example is a big film software company. They are globally located, but based out of New Zealand, as well as they have global operations. Because they have customers across the globe, and majority of the customers are adopting to European standards, the GDPR requirements and stuff. So though they're based out of Australia and New Zealand, but based on the requirement, they need to host their data center services from Europe data center. So that's again based on the data sovereignty purposes. So that's my take on that.
Nice. So also we see industry specific clouds that they are booming. Every tech giant is investing heavily in them. And to state an example, we saw a financial cloud that had anti-fraud detection built into it. So how do you see this?
Anti-fraud, yeah, I mean, like security is the utmost priority, right? So
I mean, it makes sense. There's so much, there's more and more compliance that obviously customers are struggling with, and some of that compliance is industry specific. So it makes absolute sense that that everyone involved, including the cloud provider, can cover as much as that as possible, just to ease that burden on the customer.
So we see this trend growing. Is that
pretty much? And again, a lot of customers started looking into the SASE or the CASB, cloud access security brokers, to make sure that any resource access within the cloud is controlled, governed, and protected and as much as it can be, right? So fraud detection and anything that reduces the customer's insurance premium, cybersecurity insurance premium, or strengthening their security forte and protecting their data, right? It's all goes back to CIA triad: confidentiality, integrity, and availability of their resources, right? So it's all about that. And obviously, anything to do with security, there's always a game for it, and they are investing a lot
on security aspect? Yes. So security will slowly move towards AI, and I don't know if AI and security goes hand in hand, but I think we are on the way to that. Talking about AI, we see a lot of regulations coming in the subject of AI in Australia by the government and by private organizations, etc. So how do you see this trend growing towards IT operations or IT in general? So AI in IT, will these regulations have an impact on this?
I could say yes or no, but again, it has to be ethical AI. We remember the term. So AI can be double-edged sword. If it's in the right hand, it can be used for the right reasons, for good productivity and for improving the efficiency and effectiveness. Whereas if it's in the wrong hand, we have AI-based tools available as a ransomware kit, or it can destroy a particular organization reputation, right? So it's a double-edged sword, but ethical AI is the key out here. And a lot of organizations, likewise, most of the software vendors bringing in the AI component as part of their application packages, right? So, and particularly from the observability standpoint, it's heaps of data, right? There's a lot of events that we need to look in, and a log forensics become it's a humongous efforts, right? From my Juniper days, we used to do the log forensics, and it takes about 2-3 hours just to go understand a particular incident's root cause, right? Whereas AI makes it much more easier, saves a lot of time identifying the root cause and where this happened, how this trend happens, any corroborations around it, any even correlations around it. So that's where AI plays a crucial role in helping network administrators to make sure its network availability is there for the organization critical needs. Critical resources are available for the business core purposes. I would say that's where AI comes in play.
I mean, there's different areas of AI, if you like, and AI has come from nowhere. I mean, unlike cloud that was talked about for many, many years before people really realized the benefits of it and it was happening, AI has come from nowhere, like in the last year. And pretty much all the technology vendors, including yourselves, obviously one area of AI is that you're embedding it in your products to augment them, which makes absolute sense, to make it easier for a new user to figure out how to do something, to make suggestions, and particularly when we're talking about lots and lots of data and looking for anomalies and patterns, that's something a human cannot do. So that makes absolute sense with AI, but obviously there's other areas to AI, like, the bad guys have things at their fingertips now that they never had before. So we're going to see a bigger volume of security threats like phishing, and it's going to be a higher quality and things like that. And then obviously we've got things like GenAI, Copilot. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about that. Which, I mean, what we're seeing with that is people are aware of it and kind of aware that it can really help them in an organization. But I think most organizations are also aware that probably need to plan it and get this right before you start going down that path. And companies are looking for help with that. They're looking for people that can help them plan how to make use out of Copilot, which typically they'll have access to, or obviously very well aware of with the Microsoft licensing.
Right. So since you mentioned about GenAI, we see that Australia is the fourth largest users of GenAI by usage and by maturity. So how do you see this? Is this just a hype, or are people actually using GenAI for all their practices, especially in IT?
There is a favorite saying, right? Who sees the sun first? It's New Zealand. And next to that is Australia. So Australia and New Zealand, isolated just close to the Antarctica, I reckon about 3,000 kilometers close by. Pretty much, they are the early adopters on any technology or any solution that comes in, right? So I would say the early adoption could be the key reasons. And the business pretty much focuses on MSP model. So they have a trusted partner working with most of the business and being their consultant, being their guide in terms of implementing or providing the right technology solutions for the customers. So it's majority driven by channel and MSP regions. And I would say the early adoption culture of ANZ regions would be the key. What do you reckon, Mikey?
I think there is a lot of just hype around AI of people trying it out, but I think there are organizations who are looking to how they can build their own private AI, because they, say a legal firm or a financial firm, they've got a load of data for forever they've got. But it's very proprietary and it's very confidential, and some of the risks with kind of things like ChatGPT is you put something into it and it's out there and it can learn from where other people maybe find it. And there's big cases where people are playing like confidential, secret business information and without realizing it, and not deliberately, but that's a risk to the organization and data loss of proprietary information. So I think organizations are still finding their way with it. There's a lot of hype around generative AI, this will write me my emails or my marketing campaign, which it probably helps, but it's not going to replace the marketer doing that. They can use it as a tool. I think organizations will mature with it and probably build something internally to help them differentiate themselves in the market based on their technologies or their data. There is use cases around, say, helping your customers with, say, similar to the Zero agent, rather than trying to ring a help desk or help somebody to help themselves. And I think there's a lot of work being done on that, but everyone's going to be running large language models on their laptop, and the ours it's not real. There's a lot of hype around AI. Is it a bubble even, like the .com bubble? Yeah. This is the best thing ever. It's never going to die. It's never going to crash, and it's dead, and things recover, and that's normal. But are we in the AI bubble? This might be a question.
It creates, there's more than opportunities, really a need for plenty of other technology solutions as well. For example, students. We've got kids. They use GenAI to help them with their homework. So, what point do we need some kind of oversight as to what they really did and what they used GenAI for? Obviously, the example Mikey talked about there was, companies probably don't even know how their employees are using GenAI to help them with their work. And hence they don't know what they're actually plugging into the platform that maybe they shouldn't because it's company proprietary information. So, I think, there's obviously technology there that can help with oversight or protection as to what actually gets pasted into GenAI. It doesn't stop you using it, but can limit what can be lost in terms of sort of DLP type scenario.
I just wanted to reiterate on the leadership register on Zoho ManageEngine's AI. Call it as Zoho Intelligence Assist. And there was an assurance from the leadership team that customer data lies within their tenancy. It doesn't go out. So that's a good way of protection and an ethical AI, how it can be used in the applications as such. So.
Nice. AI has the hype and AI has the usage too, but particularly in network monitoring or IT operations management, where a lot of data are coming in with the help of multi-connected devices. So what is the use of AI here? How can AI put into use in an IT operations management perspective?
It's pretty easy understanding the environment, right? So organization is all about people, trust, and they have a global objective to make money based on the service that they provide. It could be to the internal or the external staff, right? So it's all about people, and people come and go, and the pattern, the way they work, the way they access the resource, the way they share the data, the way they work with the entities, so users and entities, right? So we need to understand the environment. What is the normal behavior and any outliers, any anomalies that's happening in the network. So understanding the behaviors where the AI comes in play and can easily spot out any anomalies. And on top of it, when we're talking about flow of traffic, think about the flows that we are looking into it, right? And there could be a compromised identity or a compromised employee, just logging into a computer. A browser can be an easier way to get exploited. So if there is no proper security updated in terms of browsers, the browser is not updated. That's when the challenges comes in, right? It could be a dodgy cookie that can steal information, or unauthorized plugins, add-ons can create a trouble, and that can start from an endpoint, and that can get into the network, or it can impact the whole organization's reputation. So, and again, even from the networking devices, layer 2 or layer 3 devices, if the devices firmwares are not properly updated, that can cause huge exploit issue, right? So RCE vulnerabilities, and on top of it, most of the network devices having a configuration conflict added to it, right? So it has to be up to date. It protects them from the any external threat or any external attack as such. And the other aspects is when an employee access data, or there's a lot of dodgy sites, unauthorized locations. We have, I think I wanted to point it out, there's a recent update that happened on highest terabyte of data. I think it's a brute force or DDoS attack that came in recently. So we need to protect it. It's like impacting it's choking up their whole network bandwidth. So, and also how employees are accessing it. Are they accessing the right information? Are they accessing it from a non-authorized locations, which is blocklisted as such? So these are all the measures that we need to protect, and that's where the AI comes handy. So it can easily spot out on the flow that's going in and find out, hey, this particular person is accessing data from a dodgy site or from a dodgy location as such, which is not ideal. I'll probably send an alert to my IT administrator or security admin so that we can make appropriate protection or set a policy so that our organization security forte is strengthened and we protect our employees and the data of the organization.
So it's more of a prevention and a prediction plan with AI. Can we put it like that?
Definitely. It's more about understanding first and how things are, and then putting appropriate security measures and preventing before it even happens.
That's weird. I think certainly in Australia, we've seen a trend away from sort of monitoring to, sort of insiders to wider, and then taking into consideration security as well. So effectively now we've got so many data sources, so much information, and there's a common thing about NOC staff, IT staff being burnout, alert fatigue. It was just too much. So having something there that can triage and say, you need to go fix this because this is serious, and 90% of this is yours, keep for it with customers where they've got like a big little knock on the screen, and it's just like red as a rotor. So it's hundreds of alerts coming in a minute because it's a telco or something. And so nobody can manage to look through that and know in real time what's real, what's serious, what is a threat. And having a tool or application that can tell someone this is happening, then I know, because it could be such a weak blood enough. So over a long period of time, it could be this isn't, affecting whether, and if this isn't fixed, it's going to break the network, and all our phones won't, all the cash balance. We've had cases in Australia where companies have rolled out with a firmware update, and all the payment systems, the ATMs breaking, and shops can't process payments. And those banks or payment processors, they're on the news every day. And that happens. It's a big thing because literally the whole country cries for help because you can't go to the car up and pay for it. You can't go to the supermarket. You can't withdraw money. You can't make a bill payment. And the economy just cries for help. And that's a simple, running out of firmware update or a patch or something, and having that capability to know that we've got data, we've got all this, and there's a risk to our organization. That is the goal, I think, from what the AI could do. And I think we're still getting to that point where we're looking at what is the use case for AI, and the hype is the generative stuff. But I think longer term, it will adapt to become more of a tool. And to me, some of this was already there with machine learning. It's been rebranded as AI, and it's the greatest new shiny toy. But I'm like, when you look under the surface and some of these claims from vendors, I'm like, that's just machine learning, but we're calling it AI. Because you want to jump on the...
There's a confusion. There's definitely a confusion there.
I think another way of looking at it from the user perspective is it empowers the user. So in a way, a level 1 support person or analyst really can be like a level 2 or a level 3 because of the power of AI. Like the example Michael gave was okay, 1,000 alerts in a minute. How do you deal with that? But AI could help and point you to the one you need to look at. The rest is probably okay. And that typically would be someone that's more experienced and maybe more specific on the domain or whatever. But AI can just empower so many more people, particularly the
Noise reduction is a very, very helpful feature that can AI help us with.
Right. Analytics.
Predictive analytics, yeah.
Exactly. A trend in this data and better go fix something before it breaks. There comes service effect. But that's the whole extension of APM, and not only monitoring, but moving up the stack to, as Chris was saying, IT is there for the business to deliver a service to their customers to make money. No CIO really cares, or no CEO really cares about, we got this spec of processor, this rack, and we got this NAS and storage. It's like, that's there to make me money. And if that breaks or something breaks that depends on it, how much is that affecting my share price? How much is that affecting my revenue? Indeed, if somebody can't access my website or can't access my application or can't use my, hey, with this card, they'll use another, they'll go and use another, they'll go to a competitor. So that is the criticality of monitoring. Really, it's about supporting the business to make, to be the business, without IT, without the available applications, the system is written open, the internet goes down, but when you have no phone signal, it's like well, my phone's done now because it has I can't do anything. And that's where the businesses rely on monitoring and the IT support staff to effectively keep them in business. Without that, there is no business now.
In fact, adding to Mikey's point out here, olden days we have unavailability of our resources and outage, right? But with the recent cutthroat or evolving technological trend and the way people rely on technology right now, a slow response is a new outage.
Slow is the new down.
Yeah, slow is a new down. If I'm checking a browser, I'm trying to do a payment, putting my card in, processing the payment, if it's blocks or if it's getting delayed, or if I'm going to purchase a particular product on the website, online purchase, if it's slow in processing things, I'll just cancel it, go on to the next one. Company is losing their revenue, so we can't afford to run our services so slow. So the synthetics needs to be monitored, and we need to have a visibility about why it's slow, what happened, what's the root cause, how we can fix it before it's going down.
That's as I say, providers know where you can go in and they give you comparing all these different hotel prices and if you go to one of those and you try and click through and it doesn't load, you go to the next one, you go to the next one.
Yeah.
And it's the hotel still gets the booking and uses an extra booking, but that provider, they've lost traffic and they've lost that revenue from the referrals. So as Chris says, slows me down. If it's not giving you this, performance, you click on the next on in the list of a Google search. So yeah, that's where the monitoring is key, is making sure the performance of the application and availability are providing the business need without that. There's issues.
Exactly. So since we're already in conversation about downtime, so we heard that a major telecom provider from Australia had a major downtime. And we heard that it was because of one faulty line of code, and which led to a lot of networking issues, eventually leading to nationwide downtime. I I suspect that millions of customers would have been affected by that. So do you think an AI or an full stack observability solution would have prevented this?
If we have a full stack observability, we should have prevented it. And then that you'd hope that part of the process would be that there'd be some change and some validation of that, and AI could potentially do that validation to say, if I make this change, what is going to be the impact? And hopefully it would be smart to go, you can't do that because you're going to break this. I've seen it with other tools where you can look at a firewall rule set and you'd say, oh, when I had this rule, what would the impact be? And with the tool say, you don't need to have that rule. You've already got a rule that does that.
That's right.
That's the power of what could have helped them, if they'd have looked at the risk and impact, because that organization ended up in front of the government in Parliament, in inquiries and the press. So I don't think I'll fine, but the fine would have been nothing to it, but costing the reputation. Customers were leaving them, compared to what a customer putting it up. Either a process or a tool to actually validate those changes would have making sure compared to the impact on the they're on the news, they're in the press. It's the worst day of their life. That's nothing like that. CEO, I think she resigned to what on. But that was a big impact, and that's not the first time that's happened. We've had it with bikes and payment processes. And this is the problem if these critical infrastructure technologies breaks. And that was the one last year where certain endpoint protection application pushed out an update and no banks are working, no one's flying a plane, everyone's again broken, things get broken and it has a massive impact. So questions would be raised about would AI have helped them validate that there's a that code is broken. Don't push that out, but it's too late. They pushed it out, and millions of endpoints went offline.
Simulation, as rightly said, simulation or having appropriate config backups or config changes, alerting on any changes that's taken place, and at that point of time, backup versions could have saved a lot of time, could have restored the availability.
Also, the human errors.
Human errors can be avoided.
Yes, I know you can't fix it 100%, but at least 50 to 60% with automation, AI, and everything, I think.
And the rule analysis and firewall rules, right? So think about an organization having about hundreds of engineers. So in Australia and New Zealand, if we have 100 engineers, that is a massive enterprise. And each engineer has their own idea, thought process, own core responsibilities on handling certain devices, and they will have their own firewall rules. There's no central repository to understand what tools does what. They know that particular individual know what it is, but as an organization, how we know that across the organization there could be 100 firewalls, 100 layer 2, layer 3 devices. Layer 3 devices might have rules configured, and how it is validated, what's the flaw in it. It's humanly not possible. Can download, take a report, and go through that. How it's going to, it takes a lot of time, right? So that's where solutions can help, reducing such impact, avoiding any such human errors. And if there is a backup, or if there is an alert saying, hey, there's a config pushed, there was a downtime or something, and there is a backup available at that point of time, we can quickly restore it or push that in. Okay, so that's where it comes in. Yeah.
So let's slowly move towards the sustainability part. So Gartner is talking about sustainability in 2025. We have green clouds, and we have net zero future. Even I think the Australian government is also heading towards that. So what is your take on that? How can IT practices also be sustainable?
Interesting. This is a good question, because when you're talking about AI chews up your energy. It's not draining, and it consumes a lot of water to cool the machines down, right? And also it chews a lot of power. And we're talking about sustainability out here. It's kind of a flip side, I would say. Yes, AI is good to compute. Again, we're talking, this is a quantum computing that's available. It's going to chew up a lot of energy and a lot of resources available, natural resources, right? So there are competition around quantum computing as well. And AI is pretty much like that, right? So, a person browsing in a chat GPT or GenAI, any other, there's so many other AI solutions available in the market right now. So a person doing a search on that consumes a lot more power. So sustainability, it's a human responsibility, I would say. The person who is using the technology needs to take a wise decision on how it is utilized, what it is, and is it really serves the purpose for where organization be. Accordingly, they can use it again. I would leave it to Matt and Mikey, but I would say it again boils down to the stakeholders of the organization, or it's a person. Every individual has a responsibility about sustainability. Go green, but making sure that we apply our thought process.
I think it's still early, but on the ground, all I'm really seeing so far is that sometimes the choices a customer makes or a partner makes as to which vendor they work with, it might be influenced by this particular vendor
Exactly.
Comes around and collects the hardware or things like that. So it just influences some decisions. But in terms of customers themselves doing much in this space, I'm not seeing it other than that at the moment.
I think there is some like Bluetooth hardware recycling and sustainability. So the data center providers, they're saying it, we want to be sustainable and green, but it's insane, because really, if they can be more efficient and use less power, there's less cost to them. So if they have a more efficient processor, or they can use solar to provide energy, or if they're in a colder environment, they use the local water to cool the power plant, or to cool that.
So it's a right location.
Yeah, but that's more of I'm being green, but really I'm saving myself money. I'm making my shareholders more money by doing that. But I think if they really wanted to be more sustainable? They probably could, but there's a cost benefit analysis. IT is probably not the worst industry, but it's never really big. Now, the next thing, the next hardware, the next software, and that all takes resources and energy. So,
And they get some incentives from the government as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, just one of that. I mean, this probably takes us into the area of things like building management and IoT, because obviously now the technology is there to be more efficient in a building. For example, the lights only need to come on when people are in the room. We can be a lot more efficient with lifts and whatever. So that all helps in this space, and some of it might be driven by sustainability, other for other reasons like costs as well. But
Smart homes,
yeah.
smart offices. And I reckon if they have smart homes, smart offices, who was very protective, conservative about their energy consumption, power usage, machines, turning over monitors. And I think such organizations do get some benefits from the country, the government itself, a sustainability star. And they can win tenders from the government. So there are certain good benefits. But again, it's all individuals' responsibility.
Yeah, exactly. It's a personal responsibility more than a company. Exactly. That was one awesome session. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
So that was the end of the session, guys. Meet you in the next one. Thank you so much.